Hello, and in this video I thought I'd take a moment to shine a spotlight on the modding community of Enter the Gungeon, or to be more specific, the wonderful mods they've made. The modding community is slowly starting to pick up steam, or at least that's what it seems like to me, so I thought why not give it a little push while simultaneously recommending a bunch of useful and fun mods to change up the gameplay experience. Please keep in mind that this only works for PC versions of Enter the Gungeon, so I apologise to all you console players, and that this is my first proper video with the new microphone. Any feedback on how it sounds would be appreciated. I'm still fiddling with the settings. I'm going to start by quickly running you through how to install mods into the Gungeon. Skip to this time in the video if you already know how to install mods into your game, and just want to get to the mod recommendations. Download Mod the Gungeon from this website, I'll put a link in the description. Keep in mind that Mod the Gungeon Reloaded is in development, so this might change in future, but for now it works. Run the downloaded program. Your antivirus might get a bit worried, but this is a safe file. This program should automatically find the Steam files for Enter the Gungeon on your computer. If it doesn't, you'll have to navigate to the ETG executable manually. Click Install. Just to note, the red X to the right of the install button is an uninstall button. You'll need that if you want to install newer versions of ETG mod, but we won't need it now. After that's finished installing, you want to navigate to your Enter the Gungeon Steam files. I have a shortcut, but you ought to find it in Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and Enter the Gungeon. Once in the Gungeon folder, you should see a folder called Mods. Now we're ready to install something. Go to the download of the mod you're trying to get. All the mods I'm showing here can be downloaded from modworkshop.net. Download the zip file of the mod that you want. I'm going to use Rocket Mod as an example. Once you have that, you want to take that zip file and drag it into the mods folder. Don't unzip it or anything, just plonk the whole file right in there. You'll also see a text file called mods.txt. You want to delete that. There's a good chance your mods won't work if you don't delete this file. You have to re-delete it every time you add new mods to this folder, since when you launch the game it makes a new one. But when it makes a new one, it logs the folders already in there and doesn't affect them. It sounds weird, but it should make sense. And that's it. Launch Into the Gungeon and that mod should be active. Now that we've gone over how to install mods, let's get on to what those mods actually do. Links to all these mods download pages are in the description. The first mod I'm going to go over is called Magic Smoke by the user Nothing Special, and I think it's by far one of the most useful mods currently out there. It adds a bunch of new commands that are useful for both testing stuff with the game and just messing around. Magic Smoke adds commands that let you spawn synergy chests, which you can't do in vanilla MTG. You can spawn synergy rainbow chests, a rare occurrence that can happen in the game where a synergy chest spawns 8 synergizing items. Now you can make it happen. There's also the command Reveal All Rooms, which is basically the same as giving yourself a map. Visit All Rooms, that makes the game think you've entered every room on the map and lets you teleport into them at will, though they will still contain enemies. You can spawn teleporters in every available room on the map using Add Teleporters for really fast navigation. You can change the camera zoom to varying levels of unplayable. But that's not all, you can view and change so many of the game's stats ranging from your damage, curse, magnificence, HP, knockback, thrown gun damage, and even the projectile speed of the enemies. It's ridiculous how much you can customize your stats, and it makes this mod perfect for trying to make any sort of custom challenge. You can make enemies' bullets 5 times faster and make the game so much more of a challenge, which is something I do a lot for fun, though I do tend to set my damage high to make up for it. And even that is not the final application of Magic Smoke that I want to show you. Magic Smoke has a command called Force Dual Wield, that will force the current weapon to be dual-wielded alongside a different weapon specified in the command. You get this effect with some Asian D synergies, and it's basically a worse duct tape, but it's bizarre nonetheless. Here I am dual-wielding the pea shooter and the sniper rifle, the Yari launcher with the black hole gun, crown of guns with stone dome, which looks beautifully broken. And I tried to dual-wield blasphemy with blasphemy, but that didn't exactly pan out. The UI just decided it was gonna go away for a bit. I think I scared it. Okay? Little buddy? But back on the topic at hand, Magic Smoke is a brilliant mod that adds so many new tools into the game that are perfect for custom challenge creators, people just trying to mess around, or people who want to experiment like me. I've not even covered all the commands here, there's a bunch more. I've just covered my favourites. In my opinion, it's a must-have. The next mod I'm going to go over is called Rocket by It's a Trap, and it too is in my opinion an essential mod for Gungeon experimenters. Rocket adds the command load level into the game, allowing you to skip to any chamber in the game at will, something you can't do in the vanilla MTG console. This includes the pasts and secret chambers. The command is very human readable, using the names of the chambers, meaning that you can load the rat's lair just by calling it Rat Den and not needing to input a weird ID number or anything. This mod even lists the cut chambers I've talked about in the past, and while that sounds exciting, if you try to load them, the game breaks and you get stuck in a loading screen forever. If anyone can actually get that part of the mod working, please let me know. The first two have been mod tools. They give the user the tools to enhance their experience, but tend to leave it there. This next mod, however, while it is still commands, changes up the way you play the game. It's called Isaac Game Modes by a modder named Kyle, and as the name implies, it adds a couple commands to make the Gungeon more like the Binding of Isaac. The first command is simply Isaac, and gives the player the Tearjerker, Bomb, Bloody Eye, and Directional Pad, and removes their previous items. The player is unable to switch weapons away from the Tearjerker, and because of the Wrath of the Blam synergy with the Directional Pad, the Tearjerker has become a crying bullet head. The Tearjerker can only fire in the cardinal directions, and because of the mod, it has infinite ammo. The bomb is also thrown in because Isaac. This is probably as close as we're ever going to get to playing Isaac and Enter the Gungeon, so cherish this challenge. The second command is called Eden. Using this command will remove your previous loadout and give you a random starter weapon with a chance for a random secondary starter, like the crossbow or sword off, as well as a random passive and occasionally a random active item. Your stats are also randomized, as clearly shown in the console output. You can start with random damage within a certain range, random fire rate, random speed, etc. You get random health, a random amount of armor, and a random amount of blanks. This is the best current way to get a truly random starting loadout in Gungeon, at least until the next update when they add Paradox, who will probably function similarly. This command does have a few glitches though. It can give you items like the old crest, busted TV, and the rockets from the pilot's past, which don't actually do much. I even brought this up with the mod's creator, and he said he left it in because it was funny. Also, if you do it with the robot and the Eden command gives you no armor, you don't die exactly, but the game becomes locked while the robot stands there with no health. You can't move, because I assume the robot's having an existential crisis or something. The final command is called The Lost, and it's exactly what you'd expect. It doesn't change any of your items, instead setting your health to 1 heart. You cannot pick up armor, and any extra heart containers you pick up will remain, but any health in them will be removed to set you back down to 2 HP every time you move between rooms. This makes picking up more health containers with Blasphemy really detrimental, since you can't fill them, so it's best to just leave them behind if you're playing Bullet. Where this command really gets accurate though is in its health management. Like the Lost with the Holy Mantle, you get 1 free hit per room, after which the next hit will kill you. If you take damage while in combat, you will receive that half heart back automatically when the combat ends. If you take damage outside of combat, say to a pit, you'll be healed automatically upon entering a new room. This makes the game about as brutal as you'd expect, and because of that it's probably going to be on the Huts subreddit within an hour. That poor bastard. You might think that since armor is automatically removed, that the old crest would be unobtainable, but it actually still functions. You don't get the extra hit that it provides, but you technically still keep the item and can place it in the altar. I don't know what this does with the robot, but I assume it's probably either a soft lock like before, or instant death. Next up is the static camera mod, again by Kyle. I didn't know about this, but when I mentioned I was making a video on mods, I was told that this one was a must include. What this mod does is it changes the way the camera functions while the player is in combat. Instead of the camera focusing on the player, it zooms out and centers on the room that the player is in. Whether or not this mod helps you is really personal preference for how you'd like to play the game, though I've heard it's incredibly useful for co-op play. I wouldn't know, I have no friends. Now we get to another juicy one, the Chaos Glitch mod by Spencer Whaley. This mod makes the game a hell of a lot more chaotic and strange, as the name probably implies. With this mod active, when a pot is broken, it will spawn a random minor enemy, like a spawner version of pot shots. What I mean by minor enemy? Well, it could really be anything from Poisbulins to hegemony goons from the Convict's Past to the Bullet King's Chancellor. It's very rarely anything powerful, in fact, it's mostly things that do no damage, like the small Blobulord, or the yolk spawned from the weird egg, or even the completely harmless snakes that can't even deal damage when jammed. But that's not all. This mod also makes it so that a wall mimic spawns in every single room. Every single one. Sometimes rooms will have 2 wall mimics in them, because why the hell not, right? It's Chaos Glitch mod after all. In all honesty, this isn't too bad, because since you know that there's 1 or 2 guaranteed, you are always on guard, but it is annoying. Chaos Glitch mod also has a visual command that makes everything look glitchy and weird. This isn't on by default, presumably to save your eyes, but if you want the game to look as weird as it has truly become, turn this on. Oh, and by the way, you can completely customize the amount of chaos, such as turning off the wall mimic spawns, so if you just want the random enemies from decor items, you can have that. That's not even where Chaos Glitch ends, however, as it includes one more command to do something that I assume the creator just thought was convenient, and it really is. This command is called Load Dungeon Flow, and similarly to the Rocket mod, it allows the player to send themselves to different chambers. This command is different to Rocket mod, however, as instead of including normal floors, it allows the player to access weirder and more special floors, such as the floors used in Boss Rush and a little area called NPC Paradise. I've long been curious about what the NPC Paradise was, because while I knew it existed, I could never actually access it until now. Gungeon proper, Chamber Unknown, the ancient hero statue instead of an elevator. Sorry for the lag here, my computer really doesn't like this area. A huge room with most NPCs in the game. Some are repeated, of course, since Cursula in the jail cell and Cursula in her shop are technically different NPCs to the game, just representing the same character. They all tend to act as normal, you can still buy from the usual NPCs, and the old man still gives you an item as he would in his normal room. Past the big NPC room is an even bigger room containing the gun cultists from the secret room added in AG&D, with their whole high dragonfire shtick. Moving on again, you find yourself at Winchester's shooting range, which behaves as normal. Cinegrace's room off of Winchester's range doesn't always spawn here, and in fact I've only ever seen it do this once while capturing footage for this video, not in my numerous other tests. The next room just contains an elevator to exit the floor. Sorry for going on this tangent about the NPC Paradise, I just didn't know where else I'd be able to talk about it since it's definitely not enough for its own video. Back to mods. The final mod I want to go over here is quite similar to Chaos Glitch in some ways. It's called Only Gun Fairies, and it's made by our favourite recurring modder, Kyle. If this doesn't show how much the ETG modding community needs fresh blood, I don't know what will. This mod makes it so that every pot in the game spawns a gun fairy. Every single one. It's insane and a real challenge. I'd recommend it to anyone who feels like their gungeoneering isn't quite difficult enough. Good luck. Also, the command to enable it is called Say No to Pot, so that's fun. Now that's all my mod recommendations, but I'm not quite done here. If anyone out there is interested in making their own mods for Enter the Gungeon, I'm going to provide links to support for you to do that. The modding community is small but strong, and after AG&D they've started breaking new ground and bending the Gungeon to their will. If you want to try your hand at that and make your own sadistic game mode, unique item, or weird gun, then listen up. Tutorials for ETG modding are sparse, but there's a pretty good burgeoning series by, Kyle! That started going through the basics. He's probably one of the best modders on the forefront of ETG modding, so if you want to learn, he's your pick. He's my pick. Now, those tutorials might not really do it for you since they're only starting out, and that's perfectly reasonable. Because of this, I'd like to promote the official Enter the Gungeon Discord server, particularly its modding channel. I don't exactly sing the official server's praises, with good reason. It can be quite unfriendly at times, and dare I say even toxic. But thankfully the modding channel is pretty much exempt from all of that. Just keep your wits about you and you should be fine, because the modding channel there is the absolute best place to share mods, test and development mods, and get feedback and help for mods you've made or are trying to make. People there will be able to help you if you run into problems. I'll leave a link to all this in the description and probably in a pinned comment. I really want to see new and aspiring modders in the Enter the Gungeon community. The modding community has great potential and I want to see it grow. Oh yeah, and if you're having trouble installing mods or anything like that, the Gungeon server is good for that too. I only know the method, not how to fix it when things go pear-shaped. But anyways, I've got to go take my magical bag of evil, drift above the cities and towns of the world on an ominous southbound wind, and sprinkle the seeds of doubt in the minds of small children. See ya! Also, I have a Discord server. I've said it before, it's still pretty new, and the people inside it keep asking me to plug it again, so here you go. You get some time at the end. It just feels like I'm compromising my video with this, so that's why it's at the very end.